Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Our OP in today's story is a pure genius. The way he dealt with a grumpy client and the way he did it will definitely surprise you. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. When I was the manager for 5 minutes. A few weeks ago, I was at a grocery store near where I work. I've been going to the store for over 4 years, generally 2 or 3 times a week for work and for my own stuff, so I know a lot of the people who work there and generally like them. I'm walking around and looking for something when I hear someone just ripping someone else a new one. I go to the next aisle and there are 2 employees and this older man who's yelling at them the way a parent would yell at their misbehaving spawn. For reference, I was currently on a meal break, and I wear a nice button-up and dark jeans to work, so I look, I guess, very managerial. I get mistaken for someone who knows something about anything a lot when I'm in my work outfit. Cruising the aisle a bit to eavesdrop, I hear what the guy's saying, and it's pretty atrocious. Basically calling the employees lazy B-words for not guiding him through the store by the hand. The store's also slammed at that particular time, so all the registers have at least 5 people waiting to get the things he needed because, damn it, he's earned the right for some help. Now, I'm kind of a mischievous a-hole. I've come to terms with this. After about a minute of hearing this guy keep these 2 employees basically captive and berate them for not prostrating themselves before his every need the second he walked in the door, I decided it was time to have some fun. I strode up confidently and introduced myself. "Hello, sir. My name's Carl. I'm the manager on duty. What seems to be the problem?" The man turned to me, relieved to see an authority figure, and went into detail about how I employed idiots, how they should be fired, how stupid they were, etc., etc. I nodded intently. A good manager always listens to customer input, and after the man had his say, I turned to the 2 employees. "Well, it seems pretty clear what we have to do. I want you 2 to go in the back. Each of you is to get a broomstick and break it in half. Once you've done that, you'll wait for me and one other manager." The employees were confused as hell, but seemed to get the hint that this was their cue to exit stage left, and didn't really say anything as they walked into the back. The man was mixed. He seemed happy that the 2 miscreants who so ruined his day were being punished, but he didn't seem to understand what exactly was going on. "Broomsticks? I don't understand." I leaned in close, putting a hand on his shoulder. You don't want everyone to hear the secrets to managerial success. "Don't tell anybody, but I have a secret system for dealing with problem employees. We give them 2 halves of a broomstick and we let them fight it out. If someone falls down or gives up, they're fired. Only the winners stay. It's how we keep our talent strong and weed out those too weak to adequately serve our customers. Corporate doesn't know about it, but as long as we keep our sales figures as high as they've been, they won't ask questions." His eyes brightened, and he seemed to think this was just pure, unadulterated genius, and why can't this be a thing more stores do? And I should be teaching management classes, and on and on. I thanked him for his kind words and said I appreciated them, but if he really wanted to show his gratitude, he could do me a small favor. Our store has a special evaluation form to be filled out by select customers, ones that have demonstrated they're just a cut above your average Joe. We don't advertise this, we don't really talk about it, but you can request them. They're called ID10T forms, and you have to go up to the service desk and ask for them. They'll look confused. Don't worry, that's part of the act. They have to look confused. Be persistent and talk to whoever you can about the forms. I'd get them for you, but I have to oversee Beavis and Butthead's punishment. It was very nice meeting you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day." The grumpy man bounced off like I'd just made his day. I think I made someone's day, just not sure it was his. And our second story. The story of how they wanted to turn me into a vegan. When I was in college, I went with a couple of girlfriends of mine on a short camping trip, just the 3 of us. They were nice girls from several of my classes, and we all got along pretty well. The only thing that ever stuck thorns in our sides were our differences when it came to lifestyle choices. Specifically, these 2 particular girls were vegan, and they seemed to think it was their mission in life to make me vegan too. Part of the reason for our going on this trip was for them to cook me some vegan campfire treats and show me the awesomeness of nature. Cut to the first night, and we're making dinner. These two are grilling up portobello mushroom steaks along with marshmallows and tofu weenies. The food was tasty and I didn't complain, which made them look as smug as my cat looks when she's conned me out of a couple of cat treats. As we're watching the stars come out overhead in the clearing where we've set up camp, they start in on me about veganism and how I should adopt the lifestyle too. Having been prepared for this, I calmly explained to them that while I think it's great that they found a way to exist that leaves them satisfied with their places in the world, I just don't need the same levels of restriction that they do. I don't look at things in the same way, etc., etc. Long story short, we get into a lengthy debate about the harm humans inflict on the world and its wildlife, as well as the deplorable conditions of livestock and neglected or abandoned pets, and before long, I'm finding that we've argued the same points several times already, and there's no way we're going to see eye to eye on things. I don't like having drama between me and my friends, so I try everything I can to convince them that we just have to agree to disagree. And at first, I think I've succeeded. We all retire to our tents for the night, and we go to sleep. The next morning, I wake up and find that somebody, we'll name no names, has written murderer and sadist and racist all over the outside of my tent in big, bold letters with what appears to be lipstick. Now, naturally, I know who did it. We're on the order of 10 miles away from the nearest human-built objects, and I'm pretty sure that a raccoon didn't amble into camp, rifle through my friends' purses, retrieve the animal-safe lipstick, uncap it, and write in clear, neat letters all over my tent what he thought of my stance on veganism. I may be wrong, of course, and if I am, I'd dearly love to meet this savant raccoon and give him a chance to plead his case. As it was, I decided that the best thing for me to do was ignore it and let my friends bring up the matter first. We sit down to breakfast, and as I expected, they didn't want to let me get away with just keeping mum about the elephant in the room, as it were. "What do you think about your role in the world?" one of them asked me. "Are you really so happy murdering live creatures, taking advantage of their suffering and passing judgment on which life forms are more important than others?" At this point, I finally begin to lose patience. These two aren't the only vegans in my circle of friends, but until I'd met them, I'd had absolutely no issues. These two were recent converts, and I guess that they wanted to overcompensate for their previous shortcomings by being extra zealous now. I decided that if they were going to be obnoxious, I was going to mess with their heads a little. "At least I'm not faking it like you two are," I said in my most affable, friendly tone. "You two aren't even real vegans. What do you care if I am or not?" They looked at me like I just told them they were from outer space. "Well, it's true," I continued. "You both ate marshmallows with me last night." "There's nothing wrong with marshmallows," one of them retorted. "There's no meat, milk, or eggs in there." "Oh, to be sure, there's none of that," I agreed. "Of course, as long as you're willing to overlook the ground-up horse hooves they use to make the gelatin in them, I guess you could say they're vegan safe. You got me there." "Oh, but there's more than just that. Samantha, you're using birth control, right?" "Of course I am," she replied indignantly. "I see no reason to bring another human into the world when we're so overpopulated as it is." Fine, I agreed. "That's definitely your choice to make, and I have no problem with it. But I thought you might, since these pills you're taking are made with hormones extracted from pregnant mare's urine. After all, I mean, hey, if you guys say veganism only applies to non-equine animals, then that's your thing, and I won't hold it against you. Just be aware that other vegans might not take it so kindly that you're exploiting horses while sitting on such high ones." The looks of horror on their faces were absolutely priceless. After that, they both made excuses about having to go back early suddenly, and we cut our trip short. We were never very close friends after that, but I did get the impression that they hadn't realized how difficult it really was to go animal-free, and they didn't appreciate an unenlightened omnivore being the one to point it out to them. And our last story. My father versus the Homeowners Association. I'm a little fuzzy on exactly when this was, but for loose context, it's 2018-ish. We're living in this little two-story in a subdivision in upstate South Carolina, which my parents still own. My family just had a full run of renovations done on the house, kitchen remodel, new floors, wallpaper removed, new paint on the walls, etc. The folks who painted did an especially good job. And since they were a small local business, they wanted to know if they could put a little sign in our yard for a few days as advertisement. You know, those little plastic-type yard signs, nothing big or fancy. My dad was happy to oblige and showed them where to put it to avoid the sprinkler system. Everything's great. 2 days later, a letter arrives in our mailbox. It's from the HOA, Homeowners Association. According to the bylaws, no signage can be placed in a yard for more than 24 hours. We hadn't been planning to leave it up for more than a few days, maybe a week at the most, but to be told that supporting a small business was an eyesore came well out of left field. This is the part where I tell you that my father, despite being a very considerate and respectful man, had something of a problem with authority, especially when that authority is arbitrarily telling him what to do on his own property. First thing he does is pull out his copy of the neighborhood bylaws. He and my mother both look it over, and lo and behold, the quoted passage does indeed state that no signage or similar mode of advertisement is to be displayed in a yard for more than 24 hours. Not one to go down quietly, my father took to combing through the applicable section, looking for any loophole he could find, and he found the word yard. 2 or 3 days after that, one of the ladies who worked for the HOA came down to our house to personally ask us to remove the sign. She and my dad stepped out on the front porch and must have been out there for nearly half an hour. I don't think I heard him say anything other than the occasional, yes, ma'am, until the very end. See, the sign was no longer in our yard. It was in the flower bed. Other parts of the bylaws, even in the cited section, distinguish the flower bed as separate from the yard, and since this particular clause mentioned the yard alone, the flower bed must have been fair game. And he told this, honestly, quite nice woman as much, without so much as knitting his brows or raising his voice. The sign stayed in our flower bed, perhaps out of spite, for nearly another month before we finally took it down. I can see the HOA lady's head spinning and explode in anger after listening to your folks and combing through the bylaws. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.